kick off moderating this session will be Edward Ang, CEO for SCM Professional Center here in Malaysia. The panel's going to talk about the critical intersection of procurement, legal, and strategic functions. So this is a good one to ask questions at the end. I have a few questions ready already. Okay, so can we welcome the panel up?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our panel on the convergence of procurement, legal, and strategic through intake management. 82% of the organization implementing intake solution reported that the technology met and exceeding expectations as per Gartner recent finding. We have an esteemed panel to explore how organizations can streamline the S2P processes using intake management while ensuring compliance and strategic alignment. My first question to Mr. Walla. An organization shift towards digital procurement ecosystem. How do you think procurement has evolved? Share your tech journey, Mr. Walla.
Thank you, Edward. Our company is in Saudi Arabia. It's a group of companies. And we was using the system semi-manually and semi-automation. So I can say that it's like from 40% to nearly to 45% was automation. So the rest of the procurement cycle was doing manually. That's cost us a lot. Money for the saving and of course for the time when we are working semi-manual and semi-automation. So we decide to move to automation to have all the things in one platform, contracting system, procurement system, vendor registration, and of course the risk, the bidding, and the invoicing also. So this is for us in Abdul Latif Jameel is moving transfer to automation and to digitalization. So that is our journey.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Walla. My next question is to Ms. Kunta. From technology perspective, what role can AI agents play in ensuring intake processes support compliance and efficiency across S2P?
Okay. I think that AI helps with user experience, and user experience drives adoption. So this is the link. And while we drive adoption, what we're trying to do is help users with the process. So it's embedded within the way they interact with the system and how they go about the procedure. So it means that users don't really have to look up policies, go and find out what the procedures are, and then implement those themselves. They're guided through that process. And that's where AI is really best at doing. It finds the right information, provides the user with that guided experience, and that's what's really driving better efficiency. It helps with compliance because compliance is built into the process already. You don't have to do it separately. And overall, it drives efficiency because now the process is faster.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kunta. My next question goes to Encik Nick. Okay, legal team often face delay in contract approval and risk review. How do you see legal and procurement working more effectively together to streamline contracts workflow without compromising compliance?
Thanks, Edward. Those of you in procurement would usually hear this notion that when the user asks, where's the contract? And the procurement says, it's with legal, right? So, well, I see procurement and legal working more closely together, especially in for legal to get involved upfront, early upfront in the process, as opposed to being later only at the drafting of the terms and conditions of the contract. Now, legal's involvement at the early stage, can contribute to providing input on the strategic options of procurement. Yeah, so when you're looking at a particular purchase and you're discussing strategic options, now legal can provide certain risks outlines and from experience so that you get the input of the risks early on. Yeah, and from a process standpoint, for example, depending on the type of contract that is involved for the type of goods or services, now whether there should be strict compliance type of provisions that should be stated clearly up front for bidders to comply or be disqualified, and which terms can be flexible to be negotiated, bearing in mind the market trends, that is something which legal can provide early up front. Yeah. Now this will help expedite the tender process. And in my view, it will not affect or compromise compliance, because as long as the process is clear and adhered to, then it's okay. The question is, what process structure should be adopted for a particular tender or procurement exercise for particular goods and services? At Telekom Malaysia, myself and my Chief Procurement Officer, we share certain KPIs. So if I don't achieve, she doesn't achieve. If she doesn't achieve, I don't achieve. So that's where we kind of connected at the hips.
Thank you, Encik Nick. I think very good cooperation between both legal and procurement team. Thank you very much. Next question to Joyce. BDO Unibank operates in a highly regulated industry. What best practices have you seen in integrating legal risk assessment into procurement intake process?
Actually, in a highly regulated industry such as banking, it became critical to us to involve or consider legal and regulatory considerations upfront at the start of the procurement process, actually. In BDO, that's the role that is being performed by our legal right now. They stepped in to help the business unit, to help procurement and other resource unit to define the final scope. So it is important to embed compliance check, risk triggers, and actually workflow approval as well, logic to be in place early on so that we can prevent delay, and it will enable procurement to align to the strategic objectives of the company.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you very much, Joyce. My next round of questions go to Mr. Bala. While using Zycus solutions, how have you leveraged integration and automation across sourcing, contracting, and procurement to drive measurable value business?
Thank you. It's a good question that we already started to the automation. So out of 6 modules, we are live 4 modules, and hopefully within next 1.5 months or 2 months to be live also for the 2 remaining, which is procurement and e-invoicing, e-procurement and e-invoicing. So we already live for the sourcing and the one sourcing, I-contract, and I-risk, the 4th one, I-supplier, yeah. iSupplier. So if you compare, now we already transfer all the vendors to be registered through the system and hopefully we pass the 500 vendor registration in the new system. And that saved the time because before it was registered by my team in procurement. Now the vendor register himself in the system. Also the bidding, we already make about 500 sessions for the bidding through the system. This saving a time when you use the system because it was like just email, WhatsApp, and calling by phone and so on. For the contracting, we already pass 1,500 session in the iContract system, and that's going on, especially with the ready format for the contracting. That's saving the time. A lot of things that we save it from before, the semi-manual and semi-automation, to be fully automation. So that is our transformation, I can say that.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Walla. You shared your specific outcome. Okay, next question is to Ms. Kunta. There seems to be some option of both on intake management being used on top of the existing ERP or source-to-pay. In such a both-on standalone solution better or a built-in solution tightly integrated with source-to-pay ideal?
Okay, so the built-in tightly integrated option, I think, is going to be a mandatory requirement. I think it's going to be the foundation, and it's more about timing, as Atish said. It's building on the foundation and making it more advanced. But that's going to be a no-brainer. Now, I mean, at IBM, we have 120 clients for which we do procurement operations for. We manage their technology, and we actually do sourcing and contracting work for. And all of our clients are different. And as the larger the clients are, they have multiple ERPs, they have legacy systems, lots of legacy systems, and they might have very niche systems that provide certain parts of their procurement process. And for that, you definitely need sort of a bolt-on intake management process because you need to be able to connect to multiple systems. So I would say it's really about the requirements, what you really need, and how efficient you want to make the processes. And going back to my original statement, I think the tightly integrated S2P platform with the intake management is a must. Now let's look at further, how do we make all the procurement processes across all your regions, all your systems, end-to-end workflow, right from strategy down to paying the invoice, right through that whole workflow. How do we make that seamless? And I think that's the next challenge to solve, and that's where we need that bolt-on intake management, because every system, every landscape is going to be different for every client, and that's the only way you can solve it.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question is to Nick. With solution like Zycus CLM enabling better contract visibility and automation, how is the legal function involved from the reactive reviewer to a more strategic business partner? Could you say these tools are helping legal become a value-adding contributor rather than just a gatekeeper?
Thanks, Edward. So at Telekom Malaysia, with the help of Zycus, we rolled out our end-to-end contract lifecycle management system middle of last year. We started with our sell-side contracts because it's not just on the buy side that we use the CLM, it's on the sell side. So, and towards the end of last year, we rolled it out for our buy-side contracts. Now, just a show of hands, how many of you in your organizations have gone through a review of your procurement contract terms and conditions? Which are the mandatory clauses, whether they're still relevant? When was the last time you saw a total review of your procurement contract terms and conditions? Show of hands. Okay, good. Not many, right? Because most of the time we think that our purchase contracts are the best T&Cs. And if the vendors want to do business with you, well, the vendors have to accept your terms and conditions. Well, what we found out is actually some of our own terms and conditions are a bit archaic. Yeah, and when we look at the market, we see the type of bids that come in and the length of time needed to conclude the contract. Some of the terms are archaic. And you know one of the ways you can use a tool like a contract lifecycle management is the system can do an analysis. Once you have at least 1 year's data, can do an analysis as which terms do vendors challenge the most? Which terms do vendors comment the most? Or provide qualifications the most? And why? Right? And when the system analyzes those trends, and even with the help of an AI, it can actually tell you whether those comments and qualifications are due to the fact that because the risk is more skewed towards the vendor, which is imbalanced, or because there are certain trends or certain messages that the vendors are trying to tell you as an employer, right? So a tool like a contract lifecycle management can provide that kind of analysis. And as legal, instead of just being a gatekeeper, we can be a strategic partner by telling procurement and the business, hey, look, certain terms and conditions in our procurement, in the buy-side contracts, are a bit out of date. The risks have changed. Times have changed. So I think it's better for us to change and see and provide a more balanced risk allocation between seller and buyer. And you'll be surprised at the reaction of the supply chain when they see the revision of certain terms and conditions. And you'll probably get better pricing as well, right? So that's the value add which legal can give. And there's one more thing which I think a CLM tool can do, especially on the sell side. Yeah. So we also submit bids to our potential clients as bidders. We sometimes act like turnkey contractors. Now, if you're a turnkey contractor, there are also procurement aspects in coming up with a bid proposal, right? Because a bid proposal comprises of a lot of cost components, right? So if an AI tool embedded in your CLM can actually assess each and every clause, the risk profile of each and every clause, and come up with a proposal, and even then benchmark on certain pricing, an AI tool can actually come up with a total bid submission proposal depending and relying on data and risk assessments. I think any algorithm writer can do that. And it's just a matter of time. It's a tip for Zycus anyway. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Janik. I think happy to hear as a procurement professional that the legal team is actually adding value. Yeah. Thank you. My next question is to Joyce. Can you describe any key businesses benefit of digitizing your S2P journey?
Our digitization of our source-to-pay journey actually, or activities, delivered a very significant business impact. Not just efficiency gains like, let's say, improved turnaround time, streamlined procurement cycle, or PO to compliance of invoice to PO or contract terms. Beyond that, digitized source-to-pay actually enable the unit to monitor and strengthen internal controls, allowing the supplier to collaborate with us efficiently via the system, and allowing procurement to also align and ensure that every activity, procurement activity, is aligned with our objectives and internal strategies and procedures.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. I think this is the last session. We would like to have the panelists to give key takeaway. The first goes to Nick to close in one sentence. What's your top advice of organization looking into bridge the gap between procurement and legal?
So my top advice is to look at legal and procurement as one function, as opposed to two different functions, where each of the two teams leverage on each other's know-how, skill, and experience, i.e., two teams working like one unit in order to achieve a common objective. And if you're bold enough, do like us, have joint KPIs between the two chiefs.
Thank you. Yeah, we have three more panelists that can you wrap up? I start with the Mr. Wala. Let's wrap up with one final thought in one sentence. What is your top advice for organizations aiming to bridge procurement, legal, and strategic to a better intake to pay?
Okay, it's very important to know that legal is our partner. As we are almost all of us working in procurement. So legal is our partner. And they are the backbone of the company, that protecting the company. So once they said no for something, we should understand that this is saving our company from a big risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Next, Ms. Kunta.
Yeah, I think that regardless of the persona, whether it's legal, whether it's procurement, whether it's a business user, the objective is one. The objective is to drive competitive advantage, is to drive savings, is to drive business outcomes that protect the company, be it compliance and efficiency. Earlier on, when you talked about how to bring all of these together, through an intake process, through compliance and efficiency, one thing I didn't mention was the whole change management perspective. So as companies grow, as they refine their objectives, visions, it's very easy to embed those new processes within the system so that users don't even realize that this is what the process has changed because they're being guided through that process. So from a change management perspective, this is the best thing. And bringing everyone together in one vision, I think that becomes the holy grail of any organization.
Thank you. Joyce, yeah.
Collaborate with your stakeholders early on. And join or involve your legal, your community, your stakeholders like your end users, the finance, and especially the legal department. Because basically, the result is dictated on how you kickstart the process.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you to our panelists for the powerful insights. If there's one intake today, this intake is no longer just a form, it's a force. When designed right, it connects procurement, legal, and strategic to unlock real business value. Let's make the convergence count. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.